It's your Gigi and Mamu. Gonna read you a good night gorilla bedtime story. See that gorilla? It says, "Good night, gorilla." Good night, gorilla. Good night. Look at him, he's getting his keys. Silly gorilla. Look what he did. He let himself out of the cage with those keys. And then he's following the zookeeper. Gonna put the keys back on his belt. But instead of doing that, he decides to let the animals out of their cages. Let the elephant out. And now he's going to the lion. "Good night, lion," says the zookeeper. Doesn't realize the gorilla is behind him. "Good night, hyena. Good night, giraffe." Look at him. He's letting them out too. He's a silly gorilla. He's letting all the animals out of their cages. "Good night, armadillo." There's that armadillo right there. The zookeeper says goodnight. Doesn't even realize the gorilla is behind him. And then he goes back to his house. And the gorilla's like, And the elephant follows him. And the lion follows him. And the hyena and the giraffe. And there's that little bitty armadillo. They follow him into the house to see what they can get to eat. It's like, is there any food in here? Let's take a look and see. They decide they wanted a soft bed to sleep in. So they all curl up in the little girl's bed. If they're going to have to go to sleep, they want to go to sleep where it's nice and soft and warm in the house. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, to the little armadillo. The lights turned out. Let this page turn. And then all of a sudden somebody wakes up and it's dark. Oh no. The little girl's like, "Who's in my bed? Oh, no, 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 no." She says, "You gotta all go back to your cages. Out, out, out you go." And they followed her out to go back to their own bed. To the zoo. She says, "Good night, zoo." But guess who's still following? It's the gorilla. "Good night, dear. Good night." The gorilla gets under the covers. "Good night, gorilla." And he's snoring. And that was the end. Yippee! That's silly. All right. Good night, Kellen. Good night, Giuseppe. Mamu and Gigi love you. Good night.